think the governments also understand putting time and effort into their elite sporting teams, for example in the Olympic Games, can help develop a sense of national interest and pride in their country. You do not have to be a super athlete to do exercise and sports science. A Bachelor of Nutrition Science has been ranked #1 in Australia for research in nutrition science for 2025 and 2024. We actually have students from over 18 countries. So there's a large range of job opportunities for students who study exercise and sports science and nutrition science.
Hello and welcome to AECC in Conversation, which is part of the AECC Podcast. My name is Darryl Fong. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of AECC. Now, have you ever wondered why there's so many TV channels, coverage, programs on sports and tournaments worldwide? Well, today we shall find out why sports and exercise science is such a growing phenomenon worldwide, or in other words, what you need to know about studying sports and exercise science and the jobs and the careers of it. Well, I'm pleased to introduce our guest for the session. We have today Professor Aaron Russell. Would you mind please introduce yourself briefly to our audience?
Hi Darryl, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you and to those listening. As you mentioned, I'm a professor here in the School of Exercise and Nutrition Sciences at Deakin University for over 16 years in various roles, in teaching roles, research roles, and I'm very passionate about exercise and sports science and how that can help the community.
That's great to hear. Now, Aaron, as I mentioned earlier on, there's such a growing interest in sports and tournament, and there are also many countries where the government is encouraging citizens to get involved in sports and exercise science. I guess as part of their healthy lifestyle campaigns. What else do you think creates such a burgeoning demand and emphasis on it?
Now, I think participation in sport, whether that be playing or coaching, refereeing, or simply watching sport, it positively impacts our physical and mental health. And it creates and helps to maintain important social interactions for all ages, from children through to our elderly citizens. And I think nowadays our community are more and more educated, and especially parents also understand the importance of being involved in organised sport can have in terms of providing valuable life lessons for children. I think we also see that with the ease and the ability to watch elite level sport from all over the world, it actually provides you with the opportunity to follow a sport or to support a sporting team. And it also adds to our social interactions and provides a sense of belonging where you can talk with your friends about which team won, which team hasn't won, and some friendly debate about that type of thing without actually the need for being an elite athlete yourself. And we also know that sport is very important and exercise is very important for maintaining health and well-being, and that people want to live longer. They want to live with more independence, and they understand that exercise can be a fun way to assist with living longer and healthier lifestyle. And I think that's why we need more and more skilled people in the area of exercise and sports science to prescribe and to program exercise for various parts of the community to keep us happy and healthy. I think the governments also understand putting time and effort into their elite sporting teams, for example in the Olympic Games, can help develop a sense of national interest and pride in their country.
Oh, that's good to hear. I mean, you mentioned this a couple of times, like sports science, exercise science. Is there a difference between these terms like sports science, exercise science, nutrition science? And what advice would you give to students on how to choose each one of them, and particularly what areas should they be looking out for in terms of their academic background, their strengths, etc.?
That's a really important question, Darryl. And more commonly when I'm speaking to people all around the world about sports science and exercise science, they often don't understand the very important yet subtle differences in the two, and also nutrition science, another important degree that we offer, and how those three can actually intersect. So if you think about sports science, exercise science, nutrition science, the key word, the key similarity is science. So there are a lot of aspects of science in those three degrees. With sports science, or the science of sport, we focus on how we can improve the performance of a team or the performance of an individual using scientific principles. The science of exercise is more focused on how we improve the health of individuals or the health of the broader community using scientific principles. Nutrition science, the science of nutrition, more focuses on understanding how human nutrition impacts health and disease, and how we can understand science in order to improve the health and disease of our community through a proper nutrition. So what type of people might be interested in this type of degree? Well, another misconception especially for the exercise and sports science. You do not have to be a super athlete to do exercise and sports science. You need to have an interest in science, because sports science, exercise science, nutrition science, it uses aspects of physiology, chemistry, physics, psychology in terms of the sports science. And those three areas can actually work together. In the degrees, you might start off doing some units in exercise and some units in sports science, but then gradually during the degree, you might move towards more an applied sport focus as opposed to an applied exercise focus. Another important area that a lot of people forget about is the importance of mathematics. We work with lots and lots of data in sports science, exercise science, and nutrition science. So if you're someone who really enjoys working with data, numbers, coding, and has a passion for sport or exercise and nutrition, then these degrees might be of interest to you. You can apply your love of science with your love of sport and nutrition.
That's good to know. Aaron, are these courses deemed as professional or academic courses? And how would you, regulate these courses in Australia? Or what about its recognition in other parts of the world?
So now these courses, the Bachelor of Exercise and Sports Science and the Bachelor of Nutrition Science, they're 3-year bachelor degrees. So they're very much an academic degree. We're very proud of our degree of Exercise and Sports Science. It's ranked #1 in the world and has been about 5 years now, which means we're the #1 ranked degree school in sports science in the world. This degree is recognised internationally and it's accredited by Exercise and Sports Science Australia. A Bachelor of Nutrition Science has been ranked #1 in Australia for research in nutrition science for 2025 and 2024, and we're very, very proud of the quality of the research and teaching within this degree. For those students completing the Bachelor of Nutrition Science, they become automatically eligible to be a member of the Nutrition Society of Australia. And additionally, if these students take the Food Innovation Major sequence, they're also eligible to apply for membership with the Australian Institute of Food Science and Technology. I think it's important to mention actually, Carol, we also have a combined degree. So you could do the 3-year Bachelor of Exercise Science and the 3-year Bachelor of Nutrition Science in 4 years by combining those two degrees. Another really interesting aspect in terms of combining degrees is we offer the combined degree in exercise and sports science as well, and Bachelor of Business, which focuses on sports management. So this provides the students with an interest of mixing their interest maybe in business, sports marketing, sports promotion, sports organisation into sports science as well. As I said, these can be completed in 4 years.
I mean, you mentioned about, the university is highly ranked, in sports and exercise. What other advice would you give, like in terms of choosing an institution? Are there any specific things like the facilities, the teaching staff, the graduate outcomes, things like that they should also be looking out for?
Yeah, it's really important and something that we focus on a lot when we're speaking to potential students. Rankings are very, very important because they often reflect the combined quality of the academic program that's delivered, the staff and how they deliver the program. But it's also very, very important to look at the graduate outcomes, because you want to be confident when you finish a degree, you can get a job. Now that's something that we're very, very proud of within our degree of exercise and sports science as well. Within our degrees, we want to make sure that our students are what we call job ready. That what they learn in the classroom, the laboratory, they can apply straight away in the real world, working with real people. So a major component of all of our degrees is providing the opportunity to students to work with our industry partners in the real world in our 2nd and 3rd year. So what they learn, they can put into place with the people who may be potentially employing them. So I think that's a really important question to ask yourself when looking at exercise sports science degree, or any degree for that matter. Are you able to obtain a large number of practical training in the real world with the people who might be giving you a job? What we find with our degree, because we have great facilities, a great degree that's very applied and practical, that our industry partners want to take our students on, want our students to work with them while our students are studying, because it allows the employers to see the quality of the student. And often students end up getting jobs with those people when they finish, because the employer knows how good they are and that they are job ready when they finish their degree and they graduate.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, you may have answered the question earlier on. We also find that quite a lot of the parents from South Asia and Southeast Asia wants their children to study something else with sports. And you mentioned about business. Are there any other combinations that can explore at Deakin?
Yeah, so within our single degree, the students have an ability to choose a major sequence that they're interested in. So we don't just provide the units and tell the students what to study. So they may be interested in doing having a major focus on exercise physiology or biomechanics or data analytics. Or for example, like as I mentioned before, they can combine 2 degrees to finish them in 4 years rather than 6 years. So they may learn more skills and knowledge in the area of business, commerce, marketing, management that they can use for either the exercise science component, if they're interested in that, and also into nutrition as well. It just provides them with another opportunity to broaden their skill sets and to increase the opportunity of employment.
That's good to know. And well, you mentioned earlier on the Deakin Sports Science is highly ranked worldwide, so congratulations. As a staff at Deakin University, would you mind sharing why do you think Deakin is highly ranked, and why should students consider studying Deakin's sports science as their first choice?
Well, obviously I'm biased, so what I say needs to be taken with that in mind. But I've been at Deakin University for a long, long time, and I was actually a student here many, many years ago. So I've seen the evolution of sports science in Australia and the quality of the laboratories and the infrastructure at Deakin University. Very dedicated staff who take a lot of time to support their students, the domestic students, the international students. We actually have students from over 18 countries, international students. So we're aware of some of the challenges that they may face in terms of getting homesick, making friends, fitting in. So we spend a lot of time with those students to help them assimilate, to make it comfortable, so they're successful. So that comes down to the care that the academic staff have for the students and the understanding of the needs of different students from different countries. We do have world-class facilities, and I mentioned before, important facilities that allow us to train the students in a practical way, in an applied way. So when they go out into the real world, they're not scared about what they may be facing in terms of working with real people, real athletes, different cross-sections of the community. But for me, the most important thing that has really embedded us as the number one in the world is our networks. Our ability to provide students with opportunities to meet potential employers during their second and their third year. It allows them to create their own networks. We help to place them if they need some assistance there, but they're not just thrown into the real world by themselves. And that, I think, is the main reason why our graduate outcomes are so good and why our students are sought after by our industry partners.
That's good to know. Now, Aaron, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of students are keen to know how this course is being assessed. Is it an exam-based degree, or is it assignment or project-based degree?
So the assessment tasks are quite varied across the degree, and I think it's really important to know, because we don't just focus on one type of assessment, because not all students are good at one type of assessment. So the assessments are, for example, given a written assessment, so your standard examinations, short answer questions, multiple choice questions, written assignments that you may do by yourself or you may do in larger groups. There are practical and applied assessments. Again, as I mentioned before, we have a strong emphasis on teaching you what you will do in the real world. So we need to make sure that you can actually teach other people. And then we have oral presentations as well as a form of assessment.
That's good to know. Just a last question for you, Aaron. Are some of the job opportunities available for students?
Yeah, sure. It's a very, very important question, and one that students should always be asking, irrespective of what degree they're looking to do. So as I mentioned before, sports science and exercise science. So the sports science is more focused on improving performance. So our graduates who are more focused on sports science tend to find job opportunities in elite and professional sporting clubs or even elite sporting schools, local and government agencies, professional sporting bodies, and then local and community sporting clubs. Those who are more interested in exercise science, who are working more with individuals or the community, tend to find work in hospitals or rehabilitation clinics, in fitness, sports centres, with private health and recreation centres. Large organisations are involved in corporate health, and some of them also start up their own businesses as personal trainers. Students who graduate from a Bachelor of Nutrition Sciences tend to move into careers that may be focused on improving individual and population health through using nutrition to prevent disease. They often work in areas involve food analysis or food sustainability, food policy, and evaluation of food intake. Other areas they may move into could be advocacy, nutrition promotion through media and marketing, and also self-employment and consulting. As I mentioned before, in the Bachelor of Nutrition Sciences, students may opt to do a food innovation major, and this could open up other career pathways, such as looking at consumer behaviour, education and research, working in the actual food industry and looking at food policy and food regulation, sensory analysis, product development, and also food quality and safety. So you can see there's a large range of job opportunities for students who study exercise and sports science and nutrition science.
Well, that's, I think, all the questions we have for you, Baron. So on behalf of every one of us at AECC, thank you very much for sharing your time and knowledge. Thank you.
Thanks, Daryl. An absolute pleasure.